What's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in. LegitMobile, aka VaJayJay here. Today we have Arno's Runes. It did just release today with the new update. We do have Valia 3 times. Do have a couple different mechanics with each Valia. She does start off as a princess, then she becomes an older princess, and then third time you fight her, she is an undead princess. Mechanically, the first boss is relatively easy. The second boss can be annoying. Make sure you're paying attention and swapping the bosses on the second one, because if they're over 10% health, it will wipe everybody. And in the third boss, you just got to make sure that you pick up the artifacts on the ground, and then focus on when he warps you back to the beginning, make sure that you stop moving when it tells you it has the gaze on you. I hope that you guys like and enjoy. Make sure you like and subscribe so you can stay up to date with the latest content. All right, so let's dive right in. The first Valia, I want to know here, it says, high esteemed Princess Arno City 2,000 years ago who could sense a pee even under 100 layers of mattresses. That's amazing. Fragrance there, just does some cone shape damage there, nothing too crazy. Toxic pollen, it's just a seed, it can be dispelled. Doesn't kill you. Takes like 70% health, so it doesn't need to be dispelled, but it can be. Phase switch, 66%. You just got to kill the mushrooms. Does do that cone fragrance again. Got to kill that mushroom on the other side as well. I'm a little slow to the shoot on that one. Don't mind me. Seeds again with the toxic pollen. I gotta say, these bosses are pretty. Butterfly's breath does put the circles underneath you. Just gotta get out of them. Mushrooms for the 33% phase. There's 4 of them this time instead of 2. 66% there's 2, 33% there's 4. Does give you that fragrance again. Seeds. Yeah, I said the bosses are pretty. They're aesthetically appealing, if that's better for you. They got little cute butterfly wings. How can you go wrong? Got the breath again, butterfly's breath. Just got to move out of them. Pain link at the end there. Does do a death link and a pain link. We DPS through it. The second boss, try to have the flower poison or vine poison. You can't be over 30 with the stacks. The flower poison is on one and the vine poison is on the other. There's 2 different bosses here. There's a good and an evil. You don't want to make sure you DPS them. So once they do a health check at 66% and 33%. And if they are 10% variance, they do a raid wipe. So you got to make sure you're rotating it there. We do stop DPS in there and then switch. There is an AoE stack phase there. Got to make sure as you're switching, you're stacking as well. Does do this little vine in the way from going between the 2 bosses. So then we take this boss down. He does do a AoE mechanic there, and then you got to get in right away mechanic, a fading wind it's called. So now you got to get back in. And then these bosses do the similar mechanics that the first boss does with the fragrance, with that AoE cone. Gotta do the vines in between, going back and forth between them. They put these vines up. As well as, typically you get that shared damage phase right as you're running between them as well, so. So then we come back and DPS this boss. Because remember, at 66% and 33%, they do a health check, and if their variance is 10%, they wipe. Also, you got to pay attention to your stacks down there. You see flower poison. I have 11 at the moment. Once that gets to 30, it instant kills you as well. So we switch at 38% and go back to the other boss. That way, it doesn't get to 33% before we can health check. So then we can take this one down below 33%. Technically, we could probably kill it because it only health checks at 33%. So we could take this one to the health check. There's a stack phase there. We could take that one to the health check, which would be 33%. And then that's the last time they do a health check. Fading wind again. So we mess up here. You got to stand out and then get in. We went to move to the other boss, and we had the vines in our way. Somehow I lived through it. Nobody else did. And then again with the AoE mechanic, or the fan mechanic. So most people are wiping because they're health checking 10%, over 10%. One of them's at like, 45% when they get to 33%, and then it wipes them. Or one of them's at 80% when one of them gets to 66%. So you really got to pay attention to those. The best bet to do is like 70% to the one, and then pull the other one to like 50, and then pull that one back to 38. I mean, our DPS isn't the greatest here. It's not terrible, but they're not gonna. They didn't enrage on us, so they're not gonna enrage on you. You gotta take your time more than anything. If you rush it, that's when you wipe. It's got the smaller mechanics in there again with the fragrance, the stack mechanic. We just burn here. And then that one's dead, and we just go back and kill the other one. And that is the second Valia in Arno's Ruins. Up next is the undead version. Remember to turn your back to the boss, and the tanks need to pay heed to the direction to where she's looking when she casts Sorcery's Flower. Up first, she does do a Heart-Burning Flame. It's just a rectangular directional flame. Just got to move out of it there. Fatal Gaze. This is where you got to turn your back to her, so you just got to have your back turned to her. So your best bet is to unclick her. Don't have auto combat turned on, and then just turn your back. You can technically be camera looking at her, but not actually with your character looking at her. She does do a huge cone to one direction there. As long as the tank's tanking her up against the pillar there, you won't have a problem with that. You do also want her tanked up against the pillar for this right here. The phase switch at 75%. You do want to make sure you stay out of that. It does move pretty rapidly if you're not paying attention, and then it goes back the other way to try to get you. The Heart-Burning Flame again. She was about to make us turn behind, but she does this. You got to pick up these artifacts. So there's 4 of them. When she's in the middle, she's doing those little tornadoes in the middle as well. You got to stay out of those. She doesn't take any damage. You got to get these artifacts. There's 4 of them. So I got 1 there. There's 2 more in front of me. I ended up getting all 3. I ended up getting 3 out of 4 myself, but that's okay. Just got to stand on them and then activate. She won't let you attack her until you do that. and if you try to go towards her or near her, you just take damage, so it's pointless. You gotta get those 4 artifacts. Here's where you gotta turn your back to her. So you gotta untarget. Can't have auto fight on, and you gotta just have your back turned just like that. So I get a gazing eye here. You gotta move it away from the group, get out of the group. The boss is also doing the sorcerer's flower there, and then the burning flame. So that gaze right there actually does the same gaze that she does. So he's about to do the eye gaze, and if you're facing him, you also get disoriented, and that's what disorients me here. So I iron will out of it, and then he does a fading wind. It's just an AoE mechanic. Just gotta get out of that. Teleports to the center again, does a phase switch, teleports you all the way back to the second boss, beginning of the second boss. You can run until it says the eyes are looking at you. So right now you have to stop moving, and you can't move until the no entry goes away, until it says right there the eyes are shut, and then you can move again. And right now you got to collect the 4 artifacts, or 3 or 4 artifacts, the 4 artifacts as well, just like you did earlier in phase, but you just can't be moving when the eyes are looking at you. So I could be moving up until right now, then you want to stop. So that's why that person got stunned right next to me. So then once they're done looking at you, then you can start running again. I'm a pro. I should have stopped. It's a 20-second can stun as well. It takes forever. It's more annoying than anything. So there's one artifact over there. There's one to the right, it looks like, as well. And there was one at the beginning behind us. So you don't actually have to stop running until right when that thing pops up. I stopped a little prematurely. I know he's going to get that one before me anyways. And the other one that guy's getting. So then it just teleports you back to the boss once you get those 4 artifacts. And then you're back to the regular mechanics with the flame. You got the, you gotta turn your back to her. And then the sorcerer's flower. And then I get the gaze again. That's the 3rd boss of Arno's Runes, Valia. Thank you guys, and I'll see you next time.